Hello everyone, my name is Ishan and welcome to the Race Monkey. Another Audi in the Race Monkey garage. This one is the 2024 Audi Q5. Now, things have been significantly strong in this segment. A lot of competition is happening with the incoming of the new Mercedes GLC, the BMW X3, which is now getting some really powerful powertrains, and the Lexus NX, which we were driving for quite a long time last year around the mountains. This one, however, is one of the nicest all-round luxury cars for the family, and especially if you're wanting to do some rough roading around the countryside. Now we are here in this beautiful side of Leopard Trail, Pandala Hills, outside of Gurgaon. All thanks to my man Karthik for scouting through the route, because we really were struggling to find the exact location of where the trail comes, so we could have some nice sighting of this beautiful lake and some wildlife around it. Now let's talk about the business end of this video. Now the Q5 does look quintessentially Audi and quintessentially Q5, because the previous generation held quite a bit of a design flair for its time. This one takes over that legacy and throws in some really good design details and makes it a bit more timeless. Now, to start off with, you've got this massive hexagonal grille over here, which is actually quite wide and makes the car look pretty wide from the front. You've got these LED headlamps, which are not the LED matrix that you get in the higher end Audi cars, but they work absolutely well in pitch dark conditions. Like, these are one of the best headlight setups that you can find in any luxury car as of today. You've got these dummy caps over here where the fog lamps could have been placed, and overall the front look of this car is pretty simple and doesn't exude a lot of flamboyance as you would expect after spending quite a lot of money, which is a sad thing for some people, but for me, I think that just works super well. Even after many years of living with this car, I would not get bored of the timeless design. Coming to the side, you've got these 19-inch alloy wheels which are shoved to 235/55 tires, and these are very smart looking alloy wheels as well. They just go very well with the overall design of the Q5. Here on the side, what you see is a side step. This is a dealer option, which I would absolutely regret of installing, especially if I'll be doing a lot of rough roading in such trails, because that thing would crash everywhere where I have very large bumps. Now, you look at here, these door handles don't pull out, you have to pull them up. So you have a sense of classic Audi design over here. Very well done, Audi. I really like that design of the door handles, and these doors are pretty hefty. You have to put in quite a lot of pressure to shut them. Coming to the back of the car, this is where it looks like a Q5, although this is very similar to the current generation of the Q7 by the way it has been designed, and you would be mistaken it for a Q7 unless you see this badge. But otherwise, this is quintessential Q5. It takes over the design from the previous generation, polishes it a little bit and throws it in. But what I am not liking much in this design are these sort of fake exhaust tip surrounds that Audi is wanting to show, but they still mellowed down a little bit. They're not as prominent as they were before. The exhaust pipes are under the bumper. And since we are at the back, let's open up the boot. It's got a massive boot for a family of 5 to travel anywhere in the country. I guess this, although is not the biggest boot in its segment, the Mercedes-Benz GLC has a little bigger boot than this one. But overall, the way this has been designed and the ingress and egress of things makes it a very delightful experience to use. And you have this steel scuff plate over here that won't destroy your paintwork when you're carrying your hard luggage. Let's go on the inside and talk to you more about what's in the cabin. Here on the inside of the Q5, this again is a quintessential Audi cabin. And that means it's extremely ergonomic and very well designed. Audi engineers their cabins really well, although they went a little hayward in between by giving touch controls and all of those gizmos. But they're back with being ergonomic, and that's the key word for today. Now we'll start off with how everything is placed. As you can see, you've got proper physical buttons. This is the main focal point. This is what manufacturers are missing out on, because when you're driving long distances at triple digit speeds, you need your controls to be within your reach and easy to use. Physical buttons really make a huge difference in the overall driving experience. So you have your 3-zone climate control system with physical rotary knobs. You've got physical buttons with capacitive touch for you to know that you have touched this particular button. And you have big buttons which can also be pressed with your nose if you're feeling brave enough, which you shouldn't do while you're driving. Now you've got a massive cubby hole over here where you can place your phone, your wallet. You've got a space over here to keep your key or your phone sideways. You've got a space over here to keep your knickknacks, probably your wallet here as well. You've got this armrest with a slidable wireless charger over here with cup holders in the front. And if you shut the cup holder, you've got a space over here to keep your knickknacks and this small USB-C charging port over here. That's not sponsored by the Man Company. You got a massive panoramic sunroof which opens up quite wide, and you got this touch screen over here which has Audi's latest MMI, which honestly speaking works really well. You've got these big option buttons which you can press and go through the menus. It's not a confusing layout. Everything that you need in your driver information and all the driving data plus your multimedia is over here. Now what is even less confusing is the instruments cluster. Now this is one of the most well-designed instrument cluster. I'm hating how BMW is doing with their instruments. They have this crookedly designed dials which sort of look futuristic to a few people, but they don't really make your driving experience easy. These are big round dials that show you the speed, your tachometer, and all your driving data in between. And you can also switch from this to your map view, which is pretty large. Absolutely love Audi for doing this. You got this massive round steering wheel with proper physical controls for your audio. You've got this cruise control button over here, this stock over here, which is quintessentially Volkswagen Group from yesteryears, and this massive yoke for the gear lever. This is one of the greatest cabins for a driving enthusiast to spend long hours in. And also a massive glove box with this beautiful felt lining and a little place to keep your coins so they don't fall everywhere. Let's get to the back seat and talk to you more about what's there. Here in the back seat of the Q5, things are even better. As you saw, the ingress and egress after that is very easy, and this particularly helps with the elderly people, especially if you have your grandparents traveling with you. Now, what impresses me the most is the cushioning on these seats. I'm 5 feet 8 inches tall, and the amount of under thigh support I have is pretty good. You've got nice squabbed out seats, and especially these scooped out backrests really make your long distance trips pretty easy. Although I haven't spent too much time in the back seat, but as much as I have, they're pretty good. Now you got good amount of knee room over here. This seat is adjusted as per my driving style. You got good amount of headroom as well. Although you have these coffee brown color interiors which might make the overall cabin look a little dingy, got this massive panoramic sunroof which filters in quite a lot of light to make this cabin a little more expansive. Now here at the back you have a 12-volt socket, and you don't have a charging port, which is quite sad. You are confined to be using the charging port under the front armrest. You've got your temperature control for the rear seat over here, and you've got this massive armrest over here with two cup holders. But my only gripe is, if I'm paying 70 odd lakh rupees, this is not the quality I expect. So that plastic cup holder is of really bad quality, and I don't have much space to keep my elbows either. I'm just confined to be keeping it here, because if I keep it here, they're gonna hit this plastic. What's wrong with having these pop out cup holders over here? Moving on, massive side pockets on the doors, and you got your Bang & Olufsen stereo over here as well. You've got these nylon nets behind the seats to keep your magazines and other knickknacks. And overall, the sense of space in this cabin is pretty good, which you can shut down with the help of these manually adjustable curtains at the back. And then you have proper privacy in the rear seat. Quite a wonderful cabin to spend long distance trips with, especially when you're traveling with your family. Now, out in the open, the Audi Q5 is significantly better than its competition in one key area, and that is the ride quality. Now, we are going through some really rough roads on the outskirts of Gurgaon. We are currently driving on the golf course extension road towards Bandwadi, and if you are from Delhi NCR, you would know how bad this road is. The Q5 just soaks in the bumps so beautifully. This is one of the gripes I had with both the Mercedes-Benz GLC and the BMW X3, that stiffness from the suspension is a little too much. Of course, it is done for the benefit of great handling characteristic, but when you're buying an SUV, and especially of this demeanor, you really want your ride quality to be top notch, and the Audi Q5 gives it to you in heaps and bounds. This is something that I've always enjoyed in Audi cars, even in cars which are rated to be a little more performance oriented, like the Audi S5. The ride quality has always been significantly better than their rivals, and the Q5 is just becoming even more pleasurable. What is also on the better side is the overall noise insulation. Although this is not as good as what you get in the Lexus NX, which is the epitome of quietness inside the cabin, but it feels comparatively better than what the Mercedes and the BMW has. Now, there is quite a lot of roughness on the road surface, and you can see by how badly the camera is shaking in between. But you barely hear those thuds filtering into the cabin, and that is one of the greatest things of making this driving experience even more pleasurable and more luxurious. Now, a lot of you prospect buyers or people who are looking forward to owning a car in this segment very soon would say that, hey man, the interiors are not up to the mark. Look at the cars in its competition. They've got proper faux leather and other little details all around. I get you. This feels a little bit like a more luxurious Volkswagen, which it is, because it's from the same family group. But what really matters is how great the quality of these plastics is. This is very soft plastic. You've got good quality leatherette everywhere, and every area where there is a crevice or there is a joint, the fit and finish is just paramount, and it just gives your eyes such a sense of calmness that you're driving a high quality car, and it really shows up in the way everything has been put together. Now, there is one factor which also plays a significant role, especially when you're driving through some really hot summer days like I am right now. Currently, we have 43 degrees Celsius outside, and the air conditioning is working absolutely perfectly. German cars are notorious to have their air conditioning not being as efficient as they're supposed to be, but this one is just fantastic. The car was parked outside in the sun, and the amount of time it took to cool down the cabin for this air conditioning system was absolutely crazy. I haven't had a chance to experience such air conditioning systems in a long time. The last time I had that was either in a Lexus car, a Toyota, or a Citroen, which are at the peak of the air conditioning game when it comes to the Indian context. Now, this quattro system is the most vital component of the Q5 because the way it handles on sharp bends, especially when you're going around some guard sections, it matters a lot because this is a heavy family SUV. Now, this quattro system sends back 60% of the torque to the rear wheels and keeps 40% in the front, making it a little rear biased when you need it. But otherwise, there is a good 50-50 torque distribution on efficiency mode, and it disengages one of the differentials to maximize fuel economy. Like right now, while I'm doing this trip from NCR to Delhi, I'm getting a fuel economy figure of 14.7 kilometers to the liter, which for a 265 bhp 2-liter turbo petrol engine with all-wheel drive system is pretty brilliant. Now, it has to do a lot with the car's design as well. The Q5 looks pretty simple when it comes to the design outlook. There's not something which really blows your mind when it comes to design elements like what you see in the Lexus. See how beautiful the suspension is. Like the design elements that you see in the Lexus NX, which is very sharp lines and a lot of cuts and creases and muscle lines going all across. A similar situation in the Mercedes-Benz GLC as well, and in the X3. Yes, it's pretty prominent. But here in the Q5, it's a very plain, simple outlook to the design, which honestly speaking is going to age really well. And I absolutely love the fact that Audi has designed it that way. Even the previous generation was designed with an outlook of keeping the design timeless. Now, when you're driving through the countryside, especially when the roads are very rough and you have a very rocky, gravelly terrain, the Q5 feels pretty comfortable. Like if I compare it to the GLC or the BMW X3, which is set up a little on the stiffer side, it does take up quite a lot of bad roads with absolute ease. And just to remind you, it's not something that really exudes the epitome of comfort, but in the way it just makes you feel while you're doing rough roads. It's pretty confidence inspiring. It's not something that would make you feel that you have not spent your money right. This is a comfortable family car that can be a little mad at times. Out on the open road, this feels even better, especially when you're driving through the twisties and you're in dynamic mode. The good weight distribution and the way the Q5's quattro system behaves is pretty amazing. And we are going through some rough roads while you're doing these cornering so-called stunts. It does feel enthusiastic enough. Yes, I've called it a family car, I've called it a very comfortable car, but when you need it to be a little bit of a monster, it comfortably can be. It does not disappoint you. by saying, "Oh no, 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 I'm a German car. Don't drive me too fast. I will show you all the error codes." It's not a BMW. Especially while cornering hard, like we have this 90-degree corner over here. The torque split that happens to the rear wheels, that is 60%, that goes to the rear wheels. It does feel a little tail happy, which is not a bad thing at all, because the Q5 is dynamically very, very well sorted. So the Audi Q5, should you buy it or should you just shortlist or even avoid it? I think you should really, really buy it. This is a car that would quintessentially give you the real feel of what a German car should be like. This one just ups the game in terms of quality, in terms of the fit and finish, even in 2024, where all the manufacturers are going and giving you all sorts of unnecessary features, especially in the Indian context where most of the features are useless. This makes a lot of sense, and Audi is throwing in quite a lot of discounts at the dealership level. So if you're brave enough, you can even get this car very close to 60 lakh rupees on road, which is a bang for your buck considering Skoda has launched their Superb at 63 lakh rupees on road without a sunroof. So the Audi Q5, I absolutely adore it. It drives so well. It's pretty efficient on the highway. It's a very quiet car on the inside, very comfortable, and it makes a lot of sense. If you're planning to keep the car for 10, 12, or even 15 years, this would not give up. This is a proper Audi that it's meant to do everything that an Audi does. I hope you liked the video and you found a lot of the things that we talked about pretty informative. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel because we are slowly growing our YouTube community, and do follow us on Instagram at TheRaceMonkey. Also visit our website TheRaceMonkey.com for full comprehensive text reviews for you to know each and everything in depth, because we spend a lot of time writing our car reviews. Thank you for watching. Do wear your seatbelts and your helmets, both on four-wheelers and two-wheelers respectively, always.